Two playing teams. Lakers. Can we talk about the Lakers real quick? Like, what's up with them?
I mean, same shit, different year. It's kind of just the same.
Well, okay. I don't. A lot of people were like talking about the difference between Darvin Ham and JJ Redick and how there really is none, and I disagree.
No, there definitely is a difference.
I was
Uh,
watching,
go ahead.
yeah, sorry. I was watching Lakers Hawks, and I get really annoyed when LeBron's fans talk about how he doesn't have enough help. Largely due to it's mostly his fault, number one. And sometimes I don't think it's the case. Like, I just think the team is talented. It's just they just for some reason LeBron teams love to underperform in the regular season. Um, but I was watching Lakers Hawks, and I was looking at their team, and I was like D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Max Christie. I'm like this roster just isn't that good. And LeBron had a bad week, really bad week. Uh,
Yeah,
oh, and but he has moments like that Hawks game where I'm like, oh my god, like he's still got it. Uh,
yeah,
Davis has still got it, and I don't have them in disaster because they've done this before where they're able to kind of like get some good role players and kind of change the team a little bit. I just think they've run out their luck with guys like Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell, and I like Dalton Connect, but like there's just guys on this team, Gabe Vincent, like guys on this team playing that really shouldn't be playing in an NBA rotation, it feels like, for if you're looking to compete.
yeah. That's basically what it just boils down to. And I mean, it's kind of been this way for like the past like 2, 3 years, ever since they kind of traded Russell Westbrook. They've kind of just had to throw teams together to kind of make it work. And they got rid of Russell Westbrook, got these pieces, D'Angelo, uh, Vanderbilt, who hasn't played it all this year. That obviously hurts. Christian Wood hasn't played it all this year. And it just seems like if LeBron and AD are not both amazing, they lose games.
Yeah.
And you saw it in that stretch where LeBron, it was like a 6, 7 game stretch where he just wasn't very good. He just had no legs. Jumper was gone. And then AD at the same time also kind of went into a slump as well. Wasn't playing as well as he did to start the season. They started so well because JJ Redick's offense was working. AD was averaging 30 points per game, and they were getting a lot from Reeves, D'Lo. Now that they're not so much, D'Lo's on the bench. Reeves has missed the past couple games. Rui is not playing well, not as well as he did last season. You see how the holes in their roster. And it seems like they always find a way to make some trade at the deadline to make this team better. And I guess that's kind of their saving grace. If they do that, they can probably still get a decent playoff spot and they'll be in there. And then, who knows? But in terms of going forward, it kind of just seems like they're just kind of waiting around till LeBron retires and then they'll have to figure out what they do. But I mean, that's kind of just been the story of their tenure together. It's kind of just them two are great and the rest we'll see.
And they have this whole thing now with LeBron, like there's this trade stuff now with like Golden State, and I don't know
Yeah,
what's going on with
The
that.
Golden the Golden
Bronny's
State
got to go
Golden
to
State wants him,
Bronny's
but
got to go to any team. He gets traded too. I didn't see that article. That's interesting. I just think like their defense is atrocious, and LeBron
yeah,
is not a good defender anymore. And if your best player, basically, or second best player at this point, is a really bad defender, you can't have three other dudes around these guys that can't play defense. I mean,
yeah,
that's just I think what it boils down to. There's players on the team I like, but they got to get more defenders on that team. And I think it was a little lightning in the bottle a couple years ago because they didn't have to play with Westbrook anymore, and it was so different. And things looked better. Um,
when they made the conference finals.
yeah, the year they made the
Yeah.
conference finals. Now it seems like that's worn out. And if
Yeah.
I'm Palinka, I'm exploring any way to add defense and some 3-point shooting on this team. And
The problem is will teams be willing to take on some of these pieces
well, I mean,
and
I
give up
think
the good
if
players?
I'm them, I'm looking at Dorian Finney-Smith on the
Yeah,
Nets. Um, think I think the Nets want a first out of that. Um, if they really want to like go above and beyond, they could try and get Schroeder and Dorian Finney-Smith for multiple interesting.
third time around for Schroeder on the
Schroeder's
Lakers.
been great, and I
Yeah,
think Schroeder would be great with Redick, and I like Schroeder at the point guard spot much better than D'Angelo Russell, and I think Schroeder's been paid, so he's not going to feel as crazy. I think, and yeah, I just that's what I would look at. You got to find feisty dudes. I think trading LeBron or anything like that is the last thing you do because then it's like, all right, we lost LeBron. Like,
they'll never do that
they'll never do that.
unless LeBron walks into
Yeah,
the to Pelinka's office and says, "I
right.
want to get out of here." But at this point, like, why would he do that?
Yeah.
Like, he has maybe 1 year left
Mhm.
after this. Like, why do that? The
Yeah.
problem with the Lakers trying to get better is that they're probably unwilling. They have their 2029 and 2031 pick.
Mhm.
Those would be the first round picks they'd have to trade, and those are so far ahead. Those are post LeBron. I don't know if they want to give up those picks.
No,
So
I
they're kind of
agree,
just
and I
so they're
wouldn't
kind of
either.
just in this situation where they don't really have the avenues to get better because the players they have on their roster aren't very valuable. Because they're not going to move Reeves. Reeves is someone probably that'd be valuable to teams, but they're not going to move Reeves. So they're kind of stuck, living on how great can AD and LeBron be on any given night. So they're gonna have nights, they're gonna have stretches where they look really bad, and then
Yeah.
there's gonna be stretches where they beat really good teams, and you get all this faith in the Lakers and LeBron again. It's just how it is.
Yeah, I think they've proven in the past that they're willing to kind of turn their season around at the deadline. So I'm waiting
Yeah,
for that. I think it's still possible because I watched LeBron and AD first that in that Hawks game, and I'm just
yeah,
like,
they
these
were
guys are
sensational.
good still. Pistons and Bulls. The Bulls, I don't like what their team is really, but they're kind of fun to watch. And I do think a lot of the players on their team you could trade and get pieces for. It helps that Vucevic is playing well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if I were them, I would trade all these guys at the deadline and just rebuild. Like
100%.
I think people are seeing. I think Donovan is pretty good, and I just think I don't know if they will do that. So right now, I have to say playing caliber. I'm not going to call them a disaster
No,
because I think they have outs. I think and then for the Pistons, it's just simply like they needed to prove that they weren't sorry this year, and I think they're doing that.
and
And
Cade is really good.
Cade is really good.
And
There you go.
that's your saving grace.
There you go. All right, playoff threat teams. How many do you have here?
I have.
Let me just say, for my definition, these were
Mhm.
teams that I can see beating anybody in a playoff series, but I can't see them going to the finals.
Mm, okay. That's pretty much my definition. I have the Bucks, Orlando, Cleveland, Memphis, Rockets, and Warriors.
Wow. So I have a shorter list than that.
Shorter? Okay.
Yeah. I think there's so much parity in the NBA that I actually can see other avenues. So I have five. So how many teams did you have?
6.
Six. Okay. I had the Hawks.
Hawks.
The Hawks is a playoff threat team, and I was just shitting on the Hawks and over text with you the other day. I can see the Hawks giving a team in the East a problem. They're sixth right now. I kind of
Hmm.
like the team, and I could see them like if they played the Knicks in a 7 game series. It wouldn't
Uh-huh.
shock me if they forced the Knicks to like 6 or 7 games. Like it wouldn't. Um,
Well, no, but yeah, no. We'll see how that looks tonight. But
no, we'll see how that looks tonight, but I wouldn't shock me. I think you're over
no,
the Knicks a little bit there, Dan. Um, I wanted to make a Nick joke this pod. I forgot to, but in the disaster tier, I was gonna like say I have the Knicks.
yeah, that'd be crazy. Oh man,
So yeah, I have the Hawks, Bucks, Timberwolves, Rockets, Grizzlies.
Timberwolves, man. I just don't like it.
Here's
I
yeah.
don't like the team.
hmm And
It seems obviously so far that it was a major mistake. Like I understand why they did it money wise.
Hmm.
You know, he was making so much money they didn't want to pay into that, and that's kind of the struggle of being a small market team. But it's like you bring in Randall, and immediately you could see some of the things that Knicks fans have been complaining about when it comes to his attitude and his body language and just his fit with Gobert, the struggles that they have offensively in terms of shooting and getting good shots. It's all there. It's all the things I thought was going to happen before the season, and it's looked like that so far. And Minnesota fans are very mad
Yeah.
with Randall, obviously.
Yeah.
And Randall presumably is going to leave, right? I don't see him re-signing with the Timberwolves. I see he's going to look for a team that fits his style more. He's had to change his style all constantly. He's had to do it multiple times on the Knicks. He's had to do it now in Minnesota because he can't really play the same way. There's possessions where they kind of just like, all right, give it to Randall, let him do his thing. But that's not good basketball. It's different than what they played last season. They're still decent defensively, but when you're not scoring enough, that ultimately becomes a bigger problem than even being a bad defensive team.
Two teams for Julius Randle: Pistons, Hornets.
I like the Pistons.
No, I know. I
Is
was
that
just saying, like, I think the Pistons would totally go after Julius Randle.
no? Yeah, because he fits a need there.
Yeah, and the Hornets would be the other one. Here's the thing with the Timberwolves. Why I don't have them in the disaster tier, as I mentioned earlier. I think they have outs. I think you could trade guys on this team, get new people in, that maybe the roster starts to make more sense. Guys are a little bit more happier, and it's not as clunky. I think that's something they can do, and I expect them to do that. And that's kind of the only reason why I have them here. And I have them as a threat because this team was in the conference finals last year. Like they have it in them. So I could see them giving anybody a tough series. Even like 2 years ago, their regular season was kind of a disaster. And they kind of like they weren't close to really beating the Nuggets, but they fought in those games really
Yeah,
well. I
they
just
did.
think like Ant's not a problem,
No,
like that he's
not at
good.
all.
Gobert, I don't think is a problem. So those are their two best players. So they got to figure out how everything else fits. And I think DiVincenzo has trade value. So he's been a disaster this year. And I think other teams can see, like, all right, we see him on our team being very effective. Maybe the Knicks are that team. Who knows? Um,
Bring it back.
the other team, Houston, simply, I don't believe in them just like as a championship contender because I just don't think they have that player
Yeah. Hmm.
that takes them there.
Same.
But other than that, I really like the team. Um, the Bucks, they beat good, they beat bad teams.
They
That's
beat
that's
bad teams.
that's the Bucks. They're 13 and what they've on a win streak right now, and it's because they're beating bad teams. They almost
Yeah,
lost. They almost
not a
lost
good.
the Nets the other day.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
Um,
the Bucks have Giannis. They have Lillard. They have talent on the team. I don't see them.
but this isn't a contender. They're not winning the title. They're a tough team to beat probably in a playoff series, but they're just not. They're not going to beat Boston. They're not going to beat any of those top teams in the Eastern
I
Conference.
hope the Knicks are a 3 seed and the Bucks are a 6 seed because I
We're
want you to deal with Giannis for an entire playoff series.
we already had the Embiid experience was
Yeah,
awful.
and I'm right. I'm gonna tell you right now, the Embiid one is probably gonna be worse. Giannis is gonna be just as annoying. He is such an annoying player to play against. Yeah, he may if he's not healthy, then that's another thing. But they have as
Yeah.
long as you have Giannis in a playoff series, you're gonna have a shot in that.
Yeah,
So I
for
have to
sure.
put him there. And then I have the Grizzlies mainly because I thought about putting the Grizzlies in championship contenders, but I can't get myself there yet.
I
Um,
don't think
I,
not yet.
I not yet. I got to see it.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
got the player, they got the player that could like if you saw Ja in the finals, that's not like, oh my God, I never saw that in his future. I just got to see it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Any
Um,
anything else on these playoff threat teams? Any reaction?
I put the Warriors in there,
I got
because
another one.
they are looking aggressively to make moves to try to make this team better. And I think they've done something that I don't know if I can remember a team doing. They're playing like 11 guys a night, which is crazy. Um, Curry's like playing the lowest minutes he's played in years, and his stats are down for it. But I think when they kind of shorten the rotation, when they actually have everyone together playing, they've shown to be pretty good, especially defensively, which is kind of surprising because they don't really have guys other than like Wiggins and Gary Payton the second and Draymond, obviously, guys that you would think would be lockdown defenders, especially since DeAnthony Melton went down, which was, I thought, a very good pickup. Um, but the main issue right now is the fact that Buddy Hield is their second best scorer, and you can't rely on Buddy Hield. He was really good to the start of at the start of the season, and everyone's like, "Oh, here come the Warriors again." I'm like, "Wait till Buddy Hield goes back to being Buddy Hield," and he did, and then they started losing games. But I think they do make some sort of move. I'm not sure who it is exactly, but I think they do make a move that makes them a better team, more well-rounded team. They shorten that rotation, really fits more around Steph Curry and his strengths. And in a playoff series, it's Steph Curry, it's Draymond Green. You never know, especially in the Western Conference where all these teams are separated by like 1 or 2 games.
Uh-huh. I realized we didn't talk about Miami in the play-in tier, and
I mean,
really because they're just fucking boring, and I don't really give a shit what
do
my.
do you think they'll trade Jimmy Butler?
That's why I thought of them because like I don't know.
I don't think
I feel
so.
like the Warriors are the team though. You know what I mean? Like if they got,
Yeah, they would be the team.
I put the Warriors in. This is a good transition for championship contenders because I put them there. I put the Warriors in championship contenders mainly because Steph is still Steph, man, and they've proven they can win without him. They've
Hmm.
rebounded a little bit from this tough stretch here. Um, and I don't know, like I think they got a trade to make. I think they're really trying to make this team better, and they've already looked pretty good. And I look at the rest of the West. I look at Denver, who's a mess. Minnesota, really the teams I like Dallas and the Thunder in the West. I'm like, those guys are definitively better than Golden State, maybe, and I'm still like,
Hmm. Yeah.
what's a little bit. Um, you know what I mean? And OKC's not perfect. OKC's really good. I could
I
totally,
mean, they've looked near perfect, but
yeah.
not
I
perfect.
I mean, I just think OKC is just, I could see them being beaten. You know,
Yeah, I can see them being beaten, but they've definitely looked, apart from Boston, the best team in the league, secondly. And
100%.
that and that could be just I did watch their game against Dallas last night where they looked really good. They're playing without Chet
Yeah,
and they've they got guys coming off the bench really contributing. Shea has looked like one of the best players in the league. Hartenstein, obviously, great pickup.
yeah.
Really big loss for the Knicks. It kind
Mhm.
of set in motion everything they ended up doing. Um, but yeah, OKC is really really good. They're obviously one of my contenders. Um, what are the rest of your contenders? Because
Yeah, yeah. Just on the Golden State thing is just I think I have them above all the other West teams, and then except for Dallas and OKC, and I'm
yeah,
watching closely. The other contenders are the Celtics, Cavs, your Knicks, the Magic I have there, and the Thunder and Dallas. And I have the Magic
the
there.
Magic.
Yeah, I have the Magic there, and I'm gonna give you my reasons because I think the others are self-explanatory. Dallas was in the finals last year.
Yeah,
They don't look amazing to me yet, but we'll see. I can't, I have Dallas there, Thunder there, obviously. I have the Knicks there strictly because that's what you got. I have to mention the Knicks, even though I think. And was I wrong that the Knicks are going to get better and it's not going to be because of Mikal Bridges significantly being better?
uh, yeah, more, yeah, pretty
You're
much.
that
I
type
mean,
of team.
him playing better has helped, but it's not the main reason they
Not
look
the
better.
reason why the Knicks are better.
No,
It's
it's not the
they,
reason. No.
they're going to be better. I think they're even going to be better than they are now, but it's not going to be because he's going to be better, and that's I've been consistent with that point. Um, and I love how Knicks fans are still like, give Bridges a minute. Um, um,
Oh man.
Celtics are the Celtics. The Cavs look different to me. I think this is a different team. Like if Knicks Cavs is in the playoffs, I would probably take the Knicks in that series just because of what happened a couple years ago. But I think it's a much better series. I think it's
We'd
much
have to be healthy. If we're not healthy, I think they beat us.
only because
Like
the Knicks are different.
like if we don't have Mitch, for example, because the Mitch was the difference maker in the playoff series 2 years ago. Mitch and Hart. Without Mitch, uh, playing that double big lineup with Evan Mobley taking the step that he's taken would be very difficult. But
Yeah, and
continue.
who's going to guard Donovan Mitchell? That guy you traded 6 first round picks
Oh
for?
my God.
Next, no, okay, so just we got those out of the way, right? We feel about
Orlando. You have Orlando as a contender.
Orlando. I think Orlando fully healthy because Powell's coming back in a couple weeks. I think he's going to be back around Christmas. They
Mhm.
played really well last night versus Milwaukee.
Yep.
They fought, and they basically have nobody playing really for them. Franz Wagner's injured; he'll be back um, at some point in the year. Here's the thing with Orlando: fully healthy. This team, in my opinion, is the best position team to face the Boston Celtics because they defend. They got the player. You know who the Knicks are missing? A guy like Apollo Banchero. Um,
Jesus.
um,
Oh man.
Kenny Smith's comment, I promise, will age better than it did a couple years ago. Um, Orlando, to me, defensively matches up with the Celtics better than anybody else in the East, better than Cleveland, better than the Knicks, and maybe Bridges a couple years ago, but that's not the case. And they got Cat starting at center. I really think Orlando. And I think Orlando with Paolo is a different story versus the Knicks. I mean, we were texting like Paolo always kills you.
Yeah.
I really do think Orlando. I slept on them in the beginning of the season because I was really concerned about the play of Wagner and the lack of shooting, but it seems like that's been fixed. I'm not picking them over the Celtics, but I would strongly. I think they can beat the Knicks, the Cavs, and the Celtics. And if I think they can beat those teams, like capable of beating those teams, I gotta put them in there as a finals threat.
Yeah. The injuries definitely
It hurts.
were it hurts to start the season because they've been really good even without those guys. Franz Wagner is obviously having a better year. Crazy. He goes down with the same injury that Paolo got. Um, I still worry. The shooting still isn't that great. I think they're still towards the bottom in terms of percentage. And if you look at a series against Boston where they take 50 to 63s, like that's the problem with that play style. Guarding it is that they can literally just beat you mathematically. Like if they hit more threes, take more, they can beat you even if you're still having efficient offense. So just that would be my worry. KCP hasn't been great to start the season. He's been better as of late, past week or two. Suggs obviously is coming out of nowhere. Got all that money. I thought it was an overpay, but if he's going to play like he's played so far,
Right?
then that really works out for them because they really need that guard that they can go to be a scorer and be a good defender. And Anthony Black, who's a young player, he's been also very good for them. And they have the bigs, Goga and Mo Wagner. It's a really good team. I think Charles last night was like they're the OKC of 2 years ago, where they have all these young pieces, and in 2 years they could look really good if they're able to keep this together. And Paulo and France continue to
They're
take
really
those
good
steps.
now.
Say again?
They're really good now. It's not 2 years. Like here's the thing. Like we do this all the time where we're too afraid to like pass the baton to a young team. And
Mm-hmm.
I slept on them early in the year and I was stupid. I should have saw it coming. This team was really good last year and Paolo was in his second year. Like Paolo's legit. Like and they got a good supporting cast and they're dogs defensively and they got a really good coach. And I think they got a trade to make, maybe add some more offensive ability to that team.
Yeah.
Not gonna just like I was like, should I put them in the playoff threat? Because maybe they're not really ready yet. We've seen this in the NBA where we think a team isn't ready yet, and then boom, they're in the conference finals and they're going head to head against the Celtics. And that to me is the Orlando Magic.
And that's happened in the Eastern Conference, right? Pacers made the conference finals last year, Hawks a few years ago. Like just the way the matchups work, a young team who gets a good running start into the playoffs, they get good. And that's what they're gonna have. Because once they get it, they'll have everyone back, maybe January, February-ish. They'll have that home stretch of the season to really lock in. They still have good position in the seedings. They won't have to climb back like a lot of the teams that face injuries early have to. And when you play defense that way and they play together and play for each other and play hard,
Mhm.
that goes a long way.
All right. Well, you got to go, but I still have Celtics Thunder. Do you have Knicks Thunder still
Um,
in the finals?
I'm gonna stay 10 toes down. I'm not as confident as I was at the start of the season, but I'm gonna keep Knicks Thunder.
Okay, we'll do. All right. We'll be
All
laughing.
right.
Mikal Bridges stinks up the joint in round one versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
He's been good. He's been all right.
He's been all right.
All
Not
right.
first round picks, so worth it, but yeah.
Well, it is what it is.
All right, man. Good talk to you as
All
always.
right.
Glad we got
Peace.
it.